Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I'm going to be your tech mentor today. And look, if you've been anywhere near the internet, the news, or honestly even just chatting at the water cooler lately, you know absolutely everybody is talking about artificial intelligence right now. There's just this massive, overwhelming buzz around it. But you know, with all that hype comes a ton of jargon, and it all gets thrown around like it means the exact same thing.
So you're probably hearing all these overlapping buzzwords and thinking, wait, are AI, machine learning, and deep learning literally the exact same thing? And hey, it is completely valid to be confused by this. People use these terms interchangeably all the time, but spoiler alert, they really aren't the same. So that's exactly what we're going to clear up today. Our goal is to totally untangle these terms so you can confidently know exactly what's going on.
To do that, we've got an agenda mapped out kind of like a set of nesting Russian dolls. We'll start big and zoom in layer by layer. 1. The big AI umbrella. 2. Finding patterns with machine learning. 3. Mimicking brains with deep learning. 4. The core, generative AI. And finally 5. The exponential AI explosion.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the big AI umbrella, where we're simulating human intelligence.
So, artificial intelligence. This is the absolute broadest category. It's the big umbrella covering literally everything else we're going to talk about today. Simply put, AI is just trying to simulate, using a computer, something that matches or even exceeds human intelligence. Now, intelligence is a pretty loaded word, right? It can mean a lot of things. But generally, we're talking about the ability to learn, to infer, and to reason. That's the ultimate goal we're chasing here.
And here's the crazy thing. AI isn't some overnight phenomenon. People have been chasing this dream for decades. Back in the 1980s, when folks were just starting to mess around with this in university undergrad programs, it was basically just a giant research project. They were using these super early programming languages like Lisp or Prolog. And those early projects eventually became what they called expert systems in the 80s and 90s. We were trying to simulate human reasoning way before we hit the explosive tech we're seeing today.
So let's see how this builds as we zoom in one layer deeper. Section 2, finding patterns with machine learning. This is all about teaching without explicit programming.
All right, so we pop open that big AI Russian doll, and inside we find our first nested layer, machine learning. And honestly, it's exactly what it sounds like. The machine is actually learning. Back in the day with those old expert systems, coders had to explicitly program every single rigid rule. But with machine learning, you don't have to do that. Instead, you just feed the machine tons and tons of training data. It observes that data and figures out the patterns totally on its own.
Let's use a super simple analogy to break down how this pattern recognition works. Imagine I show you a sequence, okay? A circle, then a square, then a circle, then a square. If I ask you what comes next, you'd intuitively say, a circle, right? You observe the pattern and you predicted the next logical item. Well, machine learning algorithms do that exact same thing, just on a massively larger scale. And the more data you feed it, the better those predictions get. But here's the really cool part. It's not just about predicting what's next. It is incredibly good at spotting what doesn't belong, the curveballs. Imagine you're looking at that circle-square pattern, and suddenly, boom, a bright pink triangle pops up. A machine learning algorithm flags that instantly. Think about how huge that is for something like cybersecurity. If an algorithm knows exactly how you normally use your computer, it can instantly spot a weird curveball, like, say, a hacker trying to download your files at 3 a.m. from halfway across the world. It breaks the sequence, and the machine catches it.
All right, let's zoom in even further. Section 3, mimicking brains with deep learning, where we get into the unpredictable neural network. See, open up the machine learning doll, and nested inside is an even smaller, way more complex layer. We call this deep learning. Deep learning relies on these things called neural networks. And basically, these are just ways we try to simulate how the human brain works inside a computer. Well, at least as far as we actually understand the human brain right now. And we call it deep simply because we're taking multiple layers of these neural networks and stacking them deep on top of each other.
Now, what's really interesting here is the reality of trying to mimic a human brain. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but human brains can be, well, pretty unpredictable, especially before that first cup of coffee, right? You put certain information in, and you definitely don't always get the exact same reaction out. And because deep learning uses so many incredibly complex layers, it's unpredictable too. In some cases, we literally cannot fully decompose or understand exactly why a deep learning model spits out the specific answer it does. It's wild. The layers are just too deep to trace. This specific tech got really popular in the 2010s, and it actually forms the bedrock for our final innermost layer.
Which brings us to the deepest, glowing core of our tech map, Section 4, the core,
generative AI. This is all about foundation models and creating the new.
Okay, so this right here is where all those mind-blowing recent advancements in AI are actually happening. But to really get generative AI, we got to talk about foundation models. A large language model? That's a type of foundation model. Think about the autocomplete on your phone. You know, the one that occasionally sends those terribly awkward typos to your boss. You type a word and it predicts the next single word. Well, large language models take that basic concept and make an unbelievable exponential leap. They aren't just guessing the next word anymore. They are predicting the next sentence, the next paragraph, or an entire document based on the massive amounts of data they've learned.
And we call this generative AI because it is generating entirely brand new content. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've probably heard the argument, oh, it's not actually generating anything, it's just regurgitating the stuff it was trained on. Let's bust that myth right now using a musical analogy. Think about it. Every single musical note has already been invented, right? So technically, every new song on the radio is just a recombination, a different permutation of notes that already exist. But we would never say new music doesn't exist. People compose brand new, incredible songs from those existing notes every day. Generative AI is doing the exact same thing. It takes the foundation of existing data and recombines it to create genuinely new, original content.
And this ability to create new stuff takes on so many practical forms. We've got text generation, which powers those super capable chatbots we're all using. We have audio recreation, which, wow, can be so beautiful. Think about someone losing their voice to an illness. Now they can type and the computer can speak it out loud in their actual natural voice. It's amazing. We can also use it to generate these perfect, bite-sized summaries of massive, unreadable documents. But look, with all this incredible power, definitely comes some risk. We have video deepfakes. And sure, they can be a lot of fun for parody, making it look like a celebrity is saying something ridiculous, but there is a very real potential for this tech to be abused. And all of these tools, the chatbots, the deepfakes, the text generators, they all live right here in this generative AI core.
So, let's zoom all the way back out for our final piece of the puzzle. Section 5, the exponential AI explosion, or as I like to call it, going straight to the moon. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive shift in how quickly everyone is adopting this tech. Back in the early days, AI adoption was super low. It was a slow burn. Honestly, it always felt like the true AI future was perpetually 5 to 10 years away, right? Then, in the 2010s, as machine learning and deep learning started to mature, we saw a moderate, steady uptake. Companies were using it in the background for data analysis and security. But then, foundation models and generative AI hit the scene, and suddenly, adoption went straight to the moon. Foundation models entirely flipped the script. This wasn't just some background process for data scientists anymore. It was this interactive tool, writing essays, writing code, creating art, and it was available to everyone. It literally exploded overnight.
So, there it is. We've totally unpacked the Russian doll. You now know the broad umbrella of AI, the pattern-finding magic of machine learning, the deep, brain-mimicking layers of deep learning, and the creative powerhouse that is generative AI. You see exactly how it all fits together. The tech is out there, and the adoption curve is already in the stratosphere. The only question left for you is this. Now that you finally understand the map, how are you going to harness this technology to reap the benefits in your own life? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I really encourage you to get out there, experiment with these tools, and keep learning. Catch you next time.